We recently had a trailer for Dragon's Rising Season 4, and it came with the reveal that we're going to be getting Jillian Michaels back as young Lloyd when it does come to Season 4, and I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that this was a very exciting reveal. I think this reveal was even more surprising to some fans because I just think a lot of people assumed that we would never see Jillian Michaels reprise the role. Obviously, it would be really cool if she did, but in Dragon's Rising we've actually seen young Lloyd before. In Season 1, Lloyd does have flashbacks to when he was the age of Season 1, and it was still just Sam Vincent as Lloyd. So Jillian Michaels actually reprising it now, I do think just was a further revelation for a lot of Ninjago fans. But I do think the biggest and the best thing about this reprise is the fact that it seems to be that young Lloyd isn't just simply back for fan service. It seems to be that young Lloyd is actually playing a pivotal role when it does come to Lloyd in Season 4. So, for today, I just want to quickly go over what we've actually learned about young Lloyd. The things that we've actually had established in the trailer that we did get to see. So, sit back, relax, and let's take a look at what young Lloyd could be doing in Dragon's Rising Season 4. Now, where we actually get to meet the younger version of Lloyd is within the Trial of the Whispering Woods. The present day Lloyd is going in to restore and to complete the trial and prove that he is still the Green Ninja, prove he's still worthy, and ultimately survive the trial in of itself. And that is where we actually get to meet the young Lloyd, and he says, "Why are you asking me, old man?" We then actually get to see Lloyd acknowledging the fact that it's the version of him that he actually got to skip over. But the thing that the trailer is also basically shown but not is the fact that Lloyd isn't actually saying it to the version of him that is wearing the Season 1 outfit. He's actually saying it to the teenage version that is actually wearing something more in line with the Green Ninja suit. So the thing is that we do have to show that there are two distinct depictions of Lloyd. It seems to be a pre-Green Ninja, or actually one from the first ever season of Ninjago, and then also the teenage version of Lloyd, which actually is the years he skipped over. And I'm gonna say this immediately, I'm thinking that these two versions of Lloyd are actually going to play two distinct different roles. It seems to be that the one that's actually dressed in green seems to be more of an aggressive version of Lloyd. This version of Lloyd is in the trailer, knocking Lloyd over, helping him up, actually trying to tell him what is actually the case. He seems to be the one that's actually training Lloyd to some degree, whereas the version of Lloyd that's actually in the Garmadon outfit seems to actually be a lot more calm. He seems to be a lot more actually willing to speak to Lloyd. We only actually see him in 2 or 3 scenes, but in all of them he's either stood back or he's just simply communicating with Lloyd. So it seems to be that we're actually dealing with two versions of him within the woods. But that does make more sense if you do think about it, because if you have a version of Lloyd that's not the Green Ninja and a version of Lloyd that is the Green Ninja, you could go into the idea of worthiness. Is he still the Green Ninja? Is he worthy of having the mantle? You could actually show the two distinct versions of him and actually have him combat with the two because of it. If you have a version of Lloyd that's basically telling him that he's not the Green Ninja, the version of him that's expressing doubt, but then the version of him that skipped all of the time but also is still telling him that he is worthy, I do think that would make for some really interesting story points. But who knows if they actually do go down this route. The other thing I'm actually wondering when it does come to these versions of Lloyd, are they actually manifestations of the woods and the trial in of themselves, or are they manifestations of actually just Lloyd? Are they just versions that he is imagining? Is the version of Lloyd that he skipped the years over, is that because of the woods, and then the younger Lloyd is the version that Lloyd is thinking of? We don't really know. There are so many potential options when it does come to these versions of younger Lloyd, because by all accounts they're not real, so they can play with the rules a little more when it comes to these characters, and I'm definitely curious to see what they do with them. The next big thing in my opinion is the fact that it does seem to be that this teenage version of Lloyd is going to give us a lot of information regarding who Lloyd actually is. It seems to be that this teenage version of Lloyd does have an understanding on what Lloyd actually is and what he's capable of. So it does actually provide a very interesting what if scenario. Would Lloyd have been very different in the seasons of Ninjago if he actually did go through those teenage years? Would Lloyd have actually been able to handle the threats faced in front of him if he actually did experience those years of adolescence? It is a really interesting concept, and it does make me wonder what could have been with Lloyd. But I do think my biggest question beyond all of this, and the biggest thing I'm wondering when it does come to Season 4, is will this teenage version of Lloyd actually impact the present day Lloyd in any capacity? The biggest thing for me is I'm wondering if this teenage version of Lloyd will be shown within the trial, and that is essentially it. Will he just simply be there for expedition, and that is all we will actually see? Or will this version of Lloyd in the end actually merge with the present day Lloyd? I'm wondering if what this version of Lloyd is will become a part of him, so Lloyd actually acknowledges acknowledges what parts of the years that he actually lost. Essentially, will Lloyd actually remember his childhood? Will Lloyd, by all accounts, have memories that he never really had before now? I wonder if they're actually going down this angle to make Lloyd feel almost more complete. Will this teenage version of Lloyd essentially be a part of Ninjago's history now? Will teenage Lloyd actually be something that we can look at when it does come to the timeline of Lloyd? I do think that would be really interesting, and I do hope they actually do go through with it, because it would be cool if Lloyd does have that extra part of his life and actually have it impact him in some capacity. I really do hope that I am correct with that, but in the event that I am wrong, honestly I would not be upset. The thing is that I think teenage Lloyd will be a very good aspect of season 4 regardless. I think they're definitely cooking something good with him, so I'm definitely curious to see what their outcome is when it does come to the character. I do think as well, beyond the fact that Jillian Michaels is returning, which I am definitely very happy to see, I think it's just a fantastic addition regardless. Having a Lloyd season and actually focus on the younger version of Lloyd, I do think is somewhat essential when it does come to his character. So I think regardless of how the outcome is, they're definitely putting a step in the right direction here. And just simply beyond this trailer itself, I'm just very excited for season 4 as a whole. I genuinely think we're in for something good here. I know a few of the episodes have come out in a different language, and I know people are definitely enjoying the initial episodes in of themselves. I personally haven't seen them because I am waiting for the release in English. But the thing is that I just think that the season is going to be good, and it seems to be that it's going to. So I'm just very excited for what we're actually getting here. And I'm definitely curious to know, are you guys excited for season 4 as well? Are you guys looking forward to everything we've seen so far, and are you thinking this is going to be a good season? Of course, season 3 was very divisive, and I do think that's made a lot of people anxious about season 4, but I definitely do think there's some faith and some hope going in, so I'm definitely curious to know what you guys think. Although before the video does end off, I do want to note one more thing, which is the fact that we do have the intro for season 4 as well, and it does actually take some liberties when it does come to Dragon's Rising. All of the intros so far has been utilizing the We Rise song, which I absolutely love, but this time round they're actually also splicing in a new version of the Weekend Whip, and honestly I was initially worried about this. I actually had a lot of doubt that they'd be able to splice together the two songs because they do have two very distinct feels to them, but the thing is that it does work, and I actually really do like how they've utilized it within the intro in of itself. I will also say that I actually do like what they're actually doing with the intro as well, showing all of the ninja in slow motion fighting people respectively, and the final shot of all of them together I think was absolutely fantastic. I will say that there are definitely some missing characters from certain segments of the intro, such as Jay, Nia and Lloyd at the very beginning, but honestly I am not mad at that. If I was to nitpick, I would say that they should have had those three in there as well, but at the very least they are there at the end. But I do think honestly it was a really solid intro. I do think it might beat out my current favourite Dragon's Rising intro, which is season 3, but honestly I do not know yet. I need to see it a little more and actually see it when watching the season to know for sure. So I did want to put this here just because I wanted to acknowledge it, because I don't have time to acknowledge it basically before the season itself actually does come out. But if you do want to know my opinion on that, I really like the look of it. So that is all I wanted to add on here. Let's get back to the end of the video. But I'm going to say above all else that I am just extremely excited to cover Dragon's Rising Season 4. I have been very much excited to get into what this season actually is going to bring us and the content that will come with it. I want to do theories, headcanon, speculation, analysis. I want to cover the season to its fullest capacity, and I'm just very excited to do so. This video should be releasing 2 days before the season actually does come out. There will be a special upload on the 1st for the 2-year anniversary of my channel, so definitely be tuned for that. But when the season does release on the Thursday, expect an initial impressions video on the Friday. I do also have a fun little predictions video that I made beforehand for the Saturday, and then from there we will get into our typical analysis. I'm just really looking forward to getting into it, and I hope you guys do look forward to it as well. There should be a lot of fun stuff coming out, so definitely look forward to that. But above all else, thank you very much for watching the video, and I do hope you enjoyed. And if you did, please consider subscribing. I love discussing Ninjago with more people, and if you do want to support the channel any further, which you do not have to, you could always become a channel member and join the legends that you do see on screen. Each and every single one of you, your support means the absolute world to me, and I can't thank you enough. But like I said, that's about it for today, and take care. Okay,